Coming up on TekThing, PocketCHIP, Distant Sun's big news from WWDC and E3 security doorbells, and hey, it's stupid easy to steal your phone service, but we've got a fix for you. All that and more coming up on TekThing. Today's show is brought to you by iFixit, introducing the all-new ProTech Toolkit to give you the compact and complete toolkit for all things DIY. For $5 off your purchase of $10 or more, go to ifixit.com/TekThing and use the code TekThing to check out.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Patrick Norton.
And this is TekThing, where we make technology behave.
Yes, we do.
Every single day.
Except for the really bad days.
Well, even on those days, though, well, usually I'll just like throw tech.
Throw tech. Today on Throwing Technology. That could be a YouTube channel. Shannon Throwing Technology. YouTube.com/Shannon Throws Tech. Oh my goodness. So you didn't know about this. We were laughing about this. If you use Chrome, the browser, and let's say you accidentally close a window with, let's say, 16 tabs open that you need, like I did just before the show.
I do this all the time.
Go into the history section, right? And you will find that, you know, if there's a block of tabs you just closed, they will all be there, and you will be able to reopen all 16 or 12 or 4 of those tabs. There it is.
That's awesome.
Under recently closed. Here, close a window so we can see all the tabs.
Okay.
Do it, Shannon, do it.
Okay, I'll do it again. All right, so I closed my entire block. I'll close both of those.
Oh, noes!
I closed them all.
All
now,
my
I'm pretty sure I
tabs.
have Chrome set to just automatically open up my tabs.
Right.
But if I didn't, I could go to History.
Recently closed.
Oops. History, and then go to 16 tabs, and it'll open up a brand new window for me. There's the new window, and it'll open up all my tabs that I had closed. That's awesome.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And if you've never
I'm happy.
If you've never used Alt-Tab on Windows, just play around with it.
Oh,
It'll
Alt-Tab
change
is
your life.
great.
Well, apparently when they launched Windows 10, like 8% of Windows users regularly used Alt-Tab.
Really?
Yeah, for switching between applications. Alt-Tab,
Yeah.
Alt-Tab, Alt-Tab, Alt-Tab.
I use it all the time.
Alt-Tab.
It's important.
It is important.
So what are we checking out today?
Okay, so the Chip PC. Remember the Chip PC, the $9 Chip PC?
I do.
Right? It's like a Raspberry Pi, but less expensive.
Yeah.
You know, it finally has DIP.
It has DIP switches.
They're not exactly like Tom Merritt level punny over at Next Thing, but they get their puns on. Essentially, the DIP is the HDMI and VGA boards that allow you to bring HDMI or VGA output to the
because it
chip.
was originally just composite. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what basically you have a standard. You know, well, it was funny. It wasn't funny. It was actually I had to go through. I went through 4 monitors before I finally found something I could plug this into. And then on that particular monitor, instead of scaling the standard definition analog television screen up to the 1080p screen, I had this box in the middle of the screen. It was not my favorite aspect. So
that's awesome.
You know, you update your Chip OS. Flashing the OS via the Chrome browser plugin is so much easier. I got to give props to the whole crew at Next Thing for stepping up on that. But basically, you update, and they have headless versions of the operating system now too. So if you're not going to use a monitor and you just want to use it as a server, you know, you basically upload it, and oh my goodness, can you?
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Great fit.
So now you have a little module.
So you just have to buy the additional module, right?
Yeah, talk about that in a second.
Okay.
So the HDMI DIP does 1920 by 1080 at 30 hertz. Does not carry audio over the HDMI cable, so it's probably not ideal for making the Chip PC into a home theater box. But frankly, I'm gonna put a numerical value on this. HDMI output is about 1 billion times better for me than using the composite video cable that comes with Chip. Not to slag on that, but it's, you know, if you want to get retro and you have some old TVs laying around, this cable is awesome. So yeah. If you don't remember the PocketCHIP, it's $15, by the way, the HDMI and VGA module.
Oh, that's not bad.
So this one is $15 for the DIP.
Cool. Okay.
I'm waiting for the.
I think I could deal with that price.
I think you can. But then it turns it from a $9 PC into a $24 PC.
That's true. Oh no!
Much more fun is the PocketCHIP. These were, I ordered these
you
when
have a pencil in it.
I have a pencil. There's a pencil stand in it.
So weird.
Well, when I ordered my chips, I also, during the Kickstarter project, ordered 2 HDMI DIPs, a VGA DIP, and a PocketCHIP.
Okay.
And this is their handheld PC conversion kit, right?
It's so cute.
Well, it's crazy, right? So there's a 420 by 272 pixel LED backlit touchscreen, It's a touchscreen, kids.
That's cool.
It's a touchscreen that goes to the command line.
This reminds me of like the late 90s, early 2000s when my friends had those giant Blackberries in school.
It's fun, right? They call it their super clicky, QWERTY keyboard. There's a lithium-ion battery built in. Remember, the charging circuitry for that lithium-ion battery is already on the chip. It comes with the factory, 5 hours of battery life. If you don't remember, the chip's like a 1 gigahertz ARM. Version 7 CPU, half a gigabyte of RAM, 512 megabytes of RAM, a Mali 400 GPU, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are all built in.
Cool.
They call it the mega durable injection molded clear case. And yes, kids, they have a hexagonal number 2 pencil stand built into it, and there's a pen stand on the other side.
I love that.
What's pretty cool about it, you charge it by micro USB on the top of the PocketCHIP. The keyboard is, people are like, what's the deal with the keyboard? And it's like, it's an industrial grade steel keyboard. It's very, you're typing on a steel
Hold it up to
button.
your mic. Let's hear the clicky. Oh yeah, that's pretty clicky.
The home button is particularly, the big home power button is the important one. Comes preloaded with terminal, write, file browser, make music, and Pico 8.
Pico 8?
Now, if you've never seen Pico 8,
what is that?
It is a fantasy console for making, sharing, and playing tiny games and other computer programs. You turn it on, the machine greets you with a shell for typing in Lua commands and provides simple built-in tools for creating your own cartridges.
Oh, it's Lua. Cool.
Seriously, you can actually edit code, music, sound sprites, or maps all inside of Pico 8. They're not the most sophisticated games. It comes preloaded with Celeste, Froghorn, Hug Arena, Towers of Arceus, I think that's right. Very early Game Boy feel, but don't mock, because really, how sophisticated is Flappy Bird and how many millions of human hours have been spent playing with it in the last couple of years?
I'm very thankful I never downloaded that game.
Oh my goodness. Crack, GPIO pins across the top, secret prototyping pin, like soldering pins under the screen. You still have access to your USB ports. $49 comes with the chip PC pre-installed. You can pull it apart because they're down with that, but it's all running, so I just didn't want to pull it apart.
That makes sense.
And I got a couple other chips, so why break the thing while it's working? Mm-hmm. What I really want to hear, like everything else in my life, is an audio player that'll do FLAC. So I was sitting around the other night like, home, terminal.
So does that have audio built in?
It has the audio jack built in. They actually, if you go up to getchip.com, they have directions for installing. They figured out in about 10 minutes how to put a little tiny amplifier and a little tiny speaker right here.
Oh.
So you can really get your Game Boy on.
That's really cool.
It is really cool.
Okay. I like it. I think that's really awesome. It's such a hack.
Yes. It is a hacking platform, which is a good thing.
I kind of want to hack it to do things now.
Well, I'm going to hide it.
Ooh.
How about I give you a chip to hack with?
You said it has Wi-Fi, right?
Yes. Wi-Fi is built in. Bluetooth is built in. Composite video is built in.
Wi-Fi pineapples and chips. Chip PCs. This could be so much
Pineapple
fun.
salsa for the chip. Oh, boy. Ask at TekThing.com if you got a question. Oh, Lifehacker. Comparison of 81 single board computers.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm just going to leave that right there.
Let's put that link in the show notes.
The link is in the show notes.
Okay.
Yeah. Scorpio is the 4K 60 Hz VR ready Xbox One our developers wanted. That's what Microsoft said. Watch OS 3 is going to make the Apple Watch run the way you wish it did when it launched. Everybody wants to play inside, and so many games are coming from E3 this week. So our extended rapid fire roundup this week is our picks from Apple's WWDC and E3.
Yay!
Are we ready?
I'm totes ready.
Totes ready.
I am totes ready.
Totes. Okay, well, I was laughing at your number one pick out of all the stuff that threw down this week.
What? Why?
I just think of
You just thought it was funny?
I didn't think it was funny. I was just like, well, let me rephrase it. I thought it was really funny until I realized that you hate PayPal even more than I do.
I do. I have this whole ingrained history with PayPal, and I just don't like that company very much. Plus, they're not FDIC insured, which is not very fun unless you have the debit card. So anyway, my first pick for this entire list is Apple Pay. So this fall, it is going to be usable on Safari on your Mac. You'll be able to use Apple Pay on a computer as opposed to just on your tablet or your iPhone. So this is pretty cool because it is a direct competitor with PayPal. Now I am a little bit curious about, you know, their transaction fees for merchants and stuff like that, because I used to work for a credit card processor, so I find that stuff very, very interesting and I geek out about it. So but I love that somebody is coming in and starting to like go against PayPal with their own branding.
They're basically, it used to be iOS apps only. Now it's basically anything with a browser on the Mac desktop or iOS. You know, there's going to be a pay with Apple Pay button. And apparently they have already integrated a ton of partners, including Target and a whole bunch of other big names.
Yeah, Target's in there, a bunch of other ones that I never shop at.
But that's how it starts, right?
A few airliners.
It's
I think
interesting.
United.
Apple.
Yeah, I know. It's
becoming
very cool.
the bank. Well, it's also a tremendous source of continuing revenue for Apple, so they may
is.
have some motivation there.
It's very true. And
Xbox One Slim.
Yeah, number 2. So the Xbox One Slim. This sounds really cool. So it is obviously slimmer than the original Xbox One. The big thing about this is they're getting rid of the gigantic power brick that the original Xbox have always had.
I didn't realize how much people hated that power brick until this
The thing is huge. Like, you could probably knock somebody out with it. It's so big and it's so heavy.
The power brick, not the Xbox One.
The power brick. It's starting at $300, which is an excellent price, and it's going to come with up to 2 terabytes of storage. But they're also, that one is going to be a special one that's going to be $400. The 1 terabyte version will be $350. All in all, it looks like a very nice, slimmer design of the Xbox One. You can definitely tell when there's a side-by-side comparison between the two, and it looks really, really nice. So I'm excited to check that out when it comes out. Hoping I can review it. We'll see.
Now available in Arctic White.
Arctic White.
Like I mentioned before, Project Scorpio, which is essentially sometime in the future there's going to be a 4K Xbox. It's going to take names and kick ass.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting too. So I'm wondering if this is going to like bring more people to PC or bring more people to console.
I think it's going to. I think Xbox is trying to unite the clans.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
There are worse things.
It's going to be. It's going to be kind of interesting seeing what's happening with them. One game that I'm obsessed with, and I have been obsessed with for years, if you know anything about me and if you watch my Twitter account for like the past several years, I love Skyrim, and Skyrim is being remastered, even though it's old school, for PS4, Xbox One, and also PC. So the differences in it is actually absolutely gorgeous. Oh, this is perfect. So this is PlayStation 3, and that is PlayStation 4. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, it's so pretty. And then they also do an example of Xbox 360 compared to Xbox One. So you'll see the difference with the remastered edition. It is beautiful. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. That's going to be very cool to see. And there's also going to be a new Quake coming. So for anybody from old school days who was interested in playing Quake back in the day, this new version is called Quake Champions. And this one is also going to be an arena type of game where you're doing FPS.
Well, QuakeCon's still an annual thing.
QuakeCon
is huge down in Texas, and Doom was just relaunched. If you haven't seen the new version of Doom, it's awesome. I can't wait.
My
for
husband loves that
multiplayer version of it to get patched. But yeah, it's Doom, Skyrim. Like all of a sudden,
it's so cool.
Well, the games industry is doing the Hollywood thing where you take old franchises and reboot them, except that these don't suck so far.
They don't suck so far. Another one which I'm hoping will not suck is the new Zelda game that will be coming out. This is going to be called Breath of the Wild. There is a new trailer out for it. It very much looks like an adventure game, like a survival in the wild type game.
Link is climbing mountains.
Link is cutting down trees. Link is cooking. And he's also fighting monsters and killing things with gigantic boulders, which is probably my favorite part. Apparently Link is murderous now. So it looked really neat. Can't wait to play that game. It looks very different from past Zeldas, and I played all of them. So I'm really looking forward to that one. And a few other things that I saw that are on my radar, but I'm not as familiar with. Mass Effect Andromeda. Haven't played a Mass Effect game in a long time, but this one's going to be big. A Batman Arkham VR game. That's pretty cool. However, they said it would be very short, possibly an hour to 2 hours
Maybe
long.
all you can take between, you know.
Yeah, and your battery too. And there's also going to be a new Resident Evil called Biohazard. So this is going to be the 7th Resident Evil game. Lots and lots of games coming out. Lots of VR, which not surprising at all coming out of E3.
Well, now that there's actually the HTC Vive and the Oculus controllers are coming this fall.
Yeah. All right, so that was all my favorite stuff from E3 so far, but they're still announcing things. So pay attention to like our Twitter account because I'll be definitely posting stuff about what I'm looking forward to. But what about Apple?
Oh my goodness. So what about developer conference? iOS 10 gets better notification. The biggest thing probably in iOS 10 is the fact that app developers are getting access to Siri. There's going to be a better lock screen. They've spent a bunch of time with the Message app, which is getting kind of crazy. Messages get rich links, so if you share a URL, you actually get something that looks like a web page.
Cool.
You'll be able to send messages in your handwriting. Emojis are 3 times bigger. You can click and turn a word into an emoji. There's a new map mode for photos, and apparently they're going to do facial object and scene recognition for sorting, which is a big deal. Also, wow. Ars Technica had a really great write-up. Goodbye A5, iOS 10 and support for iPhone 4S, iPad 2, and more. Although, well, yeah, that's what's kind of interesting because they got an update. Apparently, the iPad 2, iPad Mini, and 5th generation iPod Touch are supported by iOS 10, but the beta site doesn't have beta builds available for those devices. Wow. And then according to Apple's official press release, the iPhone 4S, iPad 2, iPad 3, iPad Mini, and 5th generation iPod Touch will not run iOS 10. So it looks like there's a whole nother, well, this is like, frowny face, but this is not anything new. As new features get rolled out,
when did my iPad Air come out?
A long time ago, it feels like.
Yeah, it does.
Longer than you'd think. Big deal if you're an OS 10 user. OS 10 is now the Mac OS.
Ooh.
Yeah, the next version is Sierra, and Siri is coming to the Mac this fall.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, actually.
So are they competing with Cortana?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, they're all competing. Google's competing
always.
With...
It's good to have competition, though. It makes everything better.
Echo and the Alexa is competing with, Google and Siri, and they're all competing. And that's why, right, we talked about when the Roku 4 came out. The Roku 4 is very mediocre voice recognition because it's a very, very small sample, and they don't have the engineering talent of Google or Apple coming down. I'm really, really stoked for the watchOS. The watchOS 3, which is coming out this fall. The short version, it'll be faster, more responsive. Apps can stay in memory, which is a really big deal. Updates will happen immediately. SOS is going to dial 911 directly from your phone, which a lot of people were like, wow, why wasn't this a launch feature? Although the Breathe app, I can't decide if this is awesome or incredibly silly. You had some concerns about watchOS 3, primarily a security concern.
Yeah, so in just a little bit, your Apple Watch will be able to automatically unlock your Mac whenever you're within range. So I'm just kind of curious, am I the only one that thinks this is a bad idea? Because yes, while you're using less passwords, and that is good because passwords are inherently unsafe, anything that auto unlocks whenever you're within range can most likely be hacked. For example, cars, those can be hacked. So I'm wondering if, I
think it depends on
what about like if you're asleep, you mentioned this.
Yes.
You're asleep, you have your Apple Watch on, and your kid wants to get on your computer. They bring it up to you. Auto unlock, you're within range. I'm a little curious about how this is going to work.
Do you trust the people you're trapped in the house with?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Better iOS remote for Apple TV. So basically, the Apple TV remote on your phone is going to get Siri and single sign-in, which basically means you log in once and you get access to all of your stuff, whether it's like HBO Now, Showtime, and all the other services. Something I didn't catch in the presser, but The Verge caught up. Apple TV games will no longer be required to support the Siri remote, which I think is going to mean a lot more games coming out on the tvOS. Swift Playground, which is Apple's development environment for kids. Learn serious code on your iPad in a seriously fun way. Coding is friendly and fun on the iPad. It's also iOS proprietary, which is a very Apple lesson for kids to learn.
I'm really, really happy that so many companies are trying to influence young kids to get into coding.
Yeah.
It's going to be so useful to know in future generations.
Well, it's funny, like you see the goofy animals, but take a look at what's going on with, in the background, right? It's working you through all the actual programming in there, and that's really, really cool. And then you can run your code in real time.
Oh, it's so great.
It's so great. It is great. Well, I'm curious. I'm curious to see how people react. I'm curious. Is this gonna? Is there gonna be a generation of kids developing apps? Is this how Apple sucks them in for the next generation? Yeah. Or is this going to be one of those projects that kind of pops up and nobody uses?
So pay attention to all of our social networks, because while all this news is popping up, we only do the show once a week, but we do like to share news bits on our Facebook at facebook.com/TekThing and our Twitter at twitter.com/TekThing.
19,000 free step-by-step repair guides and a huge inventory of replacement parts and tools with lifetime warranty. Our sponsor, iFixit, has got your repair needs covered. I love their repair guides. And in just the last week or two, I've used the Jimmy Pry tool and the all-new ProTek toolkit to crack open my toddler's first Nerf gun to effect repairs. Aww. I've used the Pentalobe driver and the new 64-bit driver kit to tighten up a loose screw on my iPhone and to install a new motherboard. No toilet seat repairs this week for me. Thankfully, the 64-bit driver kit is easier to get into and is held to the tool roll using magnets. It's got 10 more bits than the older driver kit, the one from the old ProTek toolkit, and a nicer swivel top driver. There is a ton more gear in there: precision ESD-safe tweezers, a wider variety of plastic opening tools, spudgers, and picks to crack open smartphones, tablets, and yes, toys. A suction cup to pull off your assembly, your display when you're installing new displays and stuff. And better yet, it's all backed by iFixit's lifetime warranty. Buy it because it's awesome, or don't, and you still get free access to all the free repair resources on ifixit.com. Grab yourself an all-new ProTek toolkit and make repair behave. Just head over to ifixit.com/TekThing and use the code TEKTHING at checkout to save $5. Thanks for your support, and thanks to iFixit. There I am doing a password audit in the wake of LinkedIn and apparently half the universe being hacked in the past few weeks. If you haven't changed your link word, just change every password. Just change all your passwords. That's how I feel right now. Make sure
all of them are different.
Well, one of my friend of the family called. Their Yahoo account had been hacked into. Oh no. And I was like, well, did you use the same password on LinkedIn, or there's so many sites have been broken into. It's if you have not done a password audit, if you share passwords across multiple places, it is a good time to change those around.
Yes.
In any case, so I'm in the process of checking all my passwords and updating some ones that need to be updated, when I discover it's time to upgrade the security on my phone service too. It is time to lock down your mobile phone.
Huh?
Yeah. Turns out your mobile phone account could be hijacked by an identity thief with just the last 4 digits of your social security number and your name.
Really?
Well, the first I saw this was on Buzzfeed, right? Really nice write-up from Nicole Wynn. Here's an unexpected way to protect yourself from getting hacked. And it goes through, activist DeRay McKesson, Black Lives Matter activist DeRay McKesson, whose Twitter account was hacked this week.
So he had two-factor authentication set up on his Twitter account.
By calling Verizon and successfully changing my phone's SIM, the hacker bypassed two-factor authentication that he has on all of his accounts, right? Because by stealing your phone account, they then have access to all of your two-factor authentication.
Yep.
Props to BuzzFeed for getting the word out on that. If that's not serious enough for you, because, it's BuzzFeed, lighten up, Francis. But go over to ftc.gov. Lori Krainer, the FTC chief technologist, a few weeks ago, an unknown person walked into a mobile phone store, claimed to be me, asked to upgrade my mobile phones, and walked out with 2 brand new iPhones assigned to my telephone numbers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, her phones immediately stopped receiving calls. She's left with a large bill and the anxiety and fear of financial injury that spring from identity theft.
Wow.
Yeah, that's big, right? If you work in the federal government, thanks to that whole thing with the Office of Personnel Management, your information's out there. As a matter of fact, your information's out there all too often in so many other places.
Yep.
And if you're like, well, I'm not an activist. I'm not the chief technologist of the FTC. It could be your ex-husband, a girlfriend, a nasty roommate if you're in college. And thanks to all the data losses in the last year, this info really is way too easy to find out for a lot of people. I got to also say props to both the FTC and the BuzzFeed. If you go to the bottom of the articles, we have the links in the show notes. They basically tell you how to turn on additional security on the major cell phone providers, and the FTC has similar information on those. AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, Verizon. Links to the show notes. Yeah.
I get so irritated and angry whenever things like this happen because it should not be it should not be available to hackers to be able to do this.
The problem is there's always a way around. That's why I believe everyone should be forced to sever their right hand or their left hand, and whoever has your left hand gets control of your life.
And your
left
fingerprints.
Hand or right hand, whatever. Choose a hand, and then hang it around your neck. In much more cheerful news, if you've ever tried to mix like multiple people into Skype and you find that Skype will only use a single headset, VB-audio software. Links in the show notes. Voicemeeter. This is really cool. It's a virtual audio mixer. For example, if you want to mix your voice and game soundtracks or multiple headsets into Skype or something else, it's pretty crazy because you launch it and it's like, whoa, but it's absolutely free, and you can pick the hardware inputs and outputs and set them to the way you want. For example, I needed to use 2 headsets in Skype. Skype only sees the left headset, but by taking the hardware input from my Scarlett 2i2, I could mix it down to mono and send it out. It's really easy.
That is cool.
A whole bunch of information available that people have used this.
I feel like that is perfect for podcasts.
Or, for example, look, meet your friends in a voice conference and get the full game sound.
Yes, there you go. Very cool.
It's not just for serious podcasty business.
Thanks for the tip, Patrick.
Thank you.
That's incredibly useful.
I'm just full of useful tips this week.
You are.
Something useful in every show.
I've been sleeping on the new sofa in our office. That's our new joke.
Yeah, we have a new Internet of Things testing arena. Arena. Let's call it the arena. Lab. Internet of Things Security Testing Lab. We have a TV and a couch, people, right next to the fridge. So realistic. Andrew writes, I have a problem. I'm not sure how to proceed. Today I booted up my laptop, a Dell Inspiron 3521, and during the boot up sequence saw the message, your battery has experienced permanent failure and needs to be replaced, except it was on the screen and not being spoken. That was confirmed in the system's BIOS. I thought the obvious solution was to get a new battery. However, after a little searching online, it was suggested that I should update the BIOS. If I tried to perform the update with a failed battery, could it do more harm than good? Should I try the update or simply buy another battery? Andrew.
Okay, I'm glad you asked this question because a similar experience happened to my little sister with a Dell as well. So we went through the same kind of issue. So my first question for you would be, can you plug your Dell laptop into wall power and perform the update that way? So if you do have wall power available, I'd say go that route.
You should always plug your laptop or your tablet or
always
your phone.
Plug it in.
Whatever device you're updating the firmware on, plug it into the wall first.
Yeah, absolutely. If that's not an option, I would not chance it with the dead battery.
Right.
If you attempt to update the BIOS and then something goes janky, your battery just dies in the middle of it, you're kind of screwed. You will mess up the motherboard. So I would personally buy a new one. I would do the update, stick the old battery back into the laptop to see if it registers correctly now, and then if it does, you could return the new battery that you don't need, or you could keep it. I know some places don't let you return an open item, so you could also look for used ones, or you could just keep it as a backup for future use, or just replace it if the battery that you have had for a long time kind of sucks.
Well,
so you have a lot of options.
If you've got like 1,000 recharges on that battery, it's probably time to replace it anyway, because lithium-ion batteries have a finite number of charge cycles.
They do.
I just plug it into the wall and flash the BIOS and see if that fixes it.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely my first step.
Yeah.
So hopefully that answers your question. All right, next question.
Brandon writes in, my fiance and I just moved into a new apartment together. It's not in the worst place in town to live, but it's also not the best. I am slightly paranoid and I want to take all of the personal security measures I can possibly take that won't break our lease. Do you guys have any recommendations for temporary or portable wireless security systems? I understand that some of the larger home security companies offer products for renters and apartment dwellers, but the upfront cost and monthly fees seem pretty steep for us. I'm pretty handy, so a DIY or an all-in-one setup is fine. And ideally, I would like to have access to the system, alarm on or off, door unlock, cameras, pet monitors, etc., remotely through my phone or my laptop if I'm off at the library or away at home somewhere. Brandon from Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay, It's a good question, and I too am a renter, and I'm very security conscious. So this is something that I've also looked into quite a bit. So for starters, the first one I would recommend is the Ring Video Doorbell. It looks really, really easy to install, even if you are a renter. So you don't have to like drill any holes in the wall or anything. It is $199 up front, or $249 for the Pro edition, which is slimmer. Ooh, so fun. And then it's $3 per month for cloud recording. Otherwise, you can also just do the free version, which is live notifications straight to your phone. So you do get notifications, you can control it from your phone, which is really nice and something that I believe you were looking for. I have a friend who has this, the Ring Video Doorbell. He has it installed at his place. He loves the thing. He's even talked about like his kid coming home ringing the doorbell while he's still at work, and then him being able to like cam with his daughter and be like, "How was school?" So it's a cute one.
I should point out, you picked out the Ring. You've purchased a Ring yourself.
I haven't gotten it. My friend has, and he recommends it.
I've actually been sponsored by Ring on the Twitch podcast, This Week in Computer Hardware. My partner on that got one sent to test, Ryan Shrout from PC Per, and actually bought a second one. He liked it so much. But just something to, it's something to consider, right? People really like these things.
Yeah.
Another one people like a lot is SimpliSafe, which is essentially a DIY wireless security system you can install. Before you start spending money on this, it's really worth spending some time talking to your local PD or finding out what's going on. Because in some cases, if it's an unmonitored alarm system,
they won't come out for it.
Won't actually. Yeah, that's a big deal. You don't want to be like, Is it better to know the moment security is breached at your house?
Yeah.
Or is it better to come home and find it? Because if you know, then you can try. It's just figure out what'll actually happen if the alarm goes off at your house. Are you just going to irritate your neighbors? Is that going to be a sign for people down the hallway to come down and wander through your apartment while the door's open? I
guess it would kind of depend on your own experience and where you live. So second off, the one that I own at home and I use, and I am a renter again, is called the Canary at canary.is. So this one is a motion detecting camera. It's in HD, it records in HD. It also records audio, so you can hear what people are saying or what when your cats are meowing. And it is motion activated, so you get you can view 12 hours of video previously recorded for free. And for more recording and for download, plans start at about $4.99 per month, and then they go up from there. Another thing I would recommend is
social engineering.
Social engineering. So I have Bay Area alarm stickers all over the house to ward off intruders because it legit works as far as I know. You can also get some pretty inexpensive motion detecting floodlights from your local hardware store. I know that Lowe's sells some pretty cheap ones, and they have good reviews. So definitely look into getting some of those that are pretty simple to install, and they're LED motion activated, so you probably don't have to put in new lights anytime soon. Definitely a good option, especially if you're worried about getting robbed at night or something like that.
One of the things our local PD links to is crimemapping.com, which is essentially, this is looking at like 7 days of crime in the block, right? So, burglary, larceny, arson, motor vehicle theft. So you can get an idea of what's going on. You can pick a time frame. The trick about this is like that's a month.
Wow.
Well, okay. So, but we're in a very densely populated area. But one of the things you'll find out is like if cars get stolen a lot, you need to work on your security. Okay, so this is the drunk people or drugs and crime, drugs and the alcohol violations, right? This is the main drag with all the bars on it, and you can learn a lot about what's going on in your neighborhood, graffiti, vandalism, and stuff. I bring that up because a lot of us are terrified of something happening, but statistically, we're at one of our safe periods. Statistically, it's actually pretty safe in a lot of ways. Or you may want to find out that, if people kick in the back door to steal small things, they can fence for heroin because they can't get OxyContin anymore. Then you probably want to concentrate on spending the money on backdoor security that's there when you're away at school. So, talk to your local PD, look at crime mapping stuff, try to figure out what's actually happening, and ease your paranoia down. Be aware, be alert, be smart, but just,
All right.
Yeah.
So I think that answered your question. Hopefully it did.
There's good stuff there.
We have some cool pictures
Once in a while, put down the phone, step away from the screen, close your laptop, and do something analog, like look at the moon, see a planet you don't recognize, then fire up distant suns on your phone to figure out if that's really Jupiter right there next to the moon.
Distant suns.
Distant snubs.
Distant suns.
It's basically an astronomy app for your phone.
Cool.
And it's because you point it, and you can figure out what the stars you're looking are, what that planet is in the sky.
Yeah.
It's an amazing application. Distant Suns is awesome.
I have something like that on Android too.
There are so many astronomy apps. That's just one of my favorite ones. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Shannon Morse.
We'll see you next week on TekThing. Always answer the door with a sword. That's what a friend of mine said once. And I was like,
what are you, insane? Okay.
What does that say about you as a person? And also, what are you going to do? Because they're going to grab your wrist before you raise the swords up, break your wrist. Like really?
That's really funny. Or you could do like a lot of the tea houses do in Japan and just make a very tiny door. So anybody that comes through has to get down on their hands and knees to get through.
So you can cut their head off with your sword.
Exactly. They would do that so that everyone would have to remove their weapons before coming into the tea house, so everyone was treated the same.
They would also have to come through, on all fours with their neck exposed. It's really easy to chop somebody's head off coming through a door like this. But it's also like a Ring doorbell, using a door, a door viewer. If you don't know somebody, don't answer the door. Don't feel bad about that. Don't give your credit card.
I've definitely not answered the door for strange people.